Hey guys, Andrew Davidson here, and welcome back to another As Per My Ability video. If you like what we do here at As Per My Ability, if you like our content, if you like our videos, if you like board games in general, please do us a favor, comment, like, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos. Now this video is going to be completely informal. I just have set up the camera, like it literally took me 3 seconds to set up the camera. I do have my laptop sitting right here, and I decided to basically do a question and answer, a YouTuber question and answer type thing. Now, I have done this in the past, probably over a year ago. I did a Q&A that I found online. So I found a different page, and I apologize. My laptop is right here, so I'm going to be kind of off screen, looking off screen a lot. But I found quite a few questions. It's probably going to take me a good smattering of time to get through. And so this is basically just a completely informal video about myself, about my life. There's my neighbors downstairs are currently rocking out to some random kid show music or something, so hopefully that'll get in the mix. I got my window open because the sun's actually out today, so maybe you'll hear some of the little bit of traffic where I live. It's just all gonna kind of come together to be just part of the video. Question number one, the first question is, what is your full name? My full name is Andrew Davidson, with As Per My Ability. I've said it many times. Do you eat meat? I do eat meat. I am a meat eater. I do enjoy meat. I love steak. That's really not a whole lot to explain behind that one. What's your birthday? Well, I do have a birthday. I only have one birthday though. So, I mean, there are 365 days in a year. So, one of those days is my birthday, which is not that exciting because it's one day. But I have 364 unbirthdays, and that's exciting because 364 unbirthdays, that's really fun. What star sign are you? I don't know. I don't care. I don't follow the astrology, astronomy, whatever it is. I don't ascribe to that type of stuff, so I've never really. Someone told me once, but I don't remember. What's your favorite color? Oh boy, well, my favorite color is blue. That's for my eyes and my hair, so my favorite color is blue. In board gaming, it's yellow. I always play yellow. I am the yellow player. I have some yellow lapel pins. I have a yellow meeple pillow and stuff like that. So yellow's my color for games in the game world, but in the non-game world, it's blue. Okay, what is your lucky number? My lucky number is 86, because one of the best, awesome, they're still running actually, my favorite bands growing up was called Project 86, and so I always just liked that 86, just the number 86. So I listen to a band called Project 86, and so when I get asked questions like that, I always say 86 is my favorite number, or my lucky number, or I don't know, whatever. Here we go. Do you have pets? Yes, and I do love to ramble about my pets. Yo tengo dos gatas. I have two female cats. The first cat that I have is an older cat I've had since 2009. Her name is Desiree Bennington III. And how that happened was I was living with a roommate. I'm going to go through this as quick as I can. I was living with a roommate. I didn't really want a cat. He wanted a cat. I said, okay, well, fine, but I want to name it. I wanted to name the cat Church after Pet Sematary, which is a Stephen King novel, which, if you guys don't know, I am a huge Stephen King fan. So I wanted to name the cat Church. My roommate is the guy, I should say my roommate at the time, this is 2009. He said, absolutely not. We're not naming a cat Church. I'm the one that wanted the cat in the first place. So I said, okay. So we came up with a system of all right, I think it was rock, paper, scissors, or odds or evens or something. Best out of 3. Whoever wins gets to name the cat. And I was like, okay, well, what does a loser get? Like, and so we came up with like a consolation prize. Whoever wins gets to name the cat, and whoever loses gets to apply the last name. I lost our rock, paper, scissors match. I think I didn't. I think it was 2-0. So my roommate named her Desiree after some stripper or some porn star or someone that he was really into at the time, or something like that. Some girl, some female that existed in real life named Desiree. And so we went with that. He won, Desiree or Desi or Des. And then I applied the last name of Bennington because I was a big fan of Linkin Park, at least at the time, and Chester Bennington, who is R.I.P., has passed on. Well, he was alive at the time. Decided Bennington sounded... I wanted something that sounded kind of official, kind of British, like posh, Victorian, like Bennington. Yes, Mr. Bennington, Miss Bennington. So Desiree Bennington is the first cat that I have. She's kind of what I call the old girl. She's older. And then I have another cat that's a black cat that's got a little bit of white on her belly. She's a little bit newer. I've had her for about 2 years, and her name is Dixit J. Doolittle. And the name Dixit comes from the incredibly popular abstract card game called Dixit. It's actually a French word. So she has a French name, Dixit, or we call her Dixit, or Dixie, or Dixie Doo, or Dixie Cup. You know, you know how, if you have animals out there, you know how you kind of come up with like pet names for your pets. Anywho, and then the Doolittle is actually, people think like, oh, they like Dr. Doolittle. No, it's actually, she's actually named, the last name anyways, after Jimmy or James Doolittle, who was a World War II hero who led the Doolittle raid on Japan in World War II. It dropped a bunch of bombs on Japan. It was the only time that we attacked Japan other than the atomic bombs. Those were different. The Doolittle campaign or raid was a suicide mission. If you've ever seen the old, I guess I could call it a classic by now, movie called Pearl Harbor, with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon or whatever, Kate Beckinsale. The ending of the movie is where they get signed up to go on the Doolittle raid, or the Doolittle campaign. James Doolittle is played by one of the Baldwins, Alec Baldwin or something, in the movie. So if you watch a movie Pearl Harbor, the end of the movie deals with Doolittle. So her name's Dixit J. Doolittle, and J is J-A-Y. So that's it. I have two cats. Where are you from? Well, for purposes of the YouTube... Where are you from? Well, for purposes of the YouTubes and the interwebs, I'm currently located in the upper Midwest, and that is where As Per My Ability is kind of focused around the tri-state area of where I live, and especially the state that I live in, the city that I live in. I live where it's very, very cold. I do live in America, but yeah, I live in the upper Midwest. That's where I'm from. What is your height? My height is about 6'2". I used to say 6'2" until I was actually officially measured by a doctor. I think I'm more like 6'1". So about 6 feet and 6 feet and an inch is my height. What is my shoe size? Oh my gosh, I wish I could. I'm kind of set up, really kind of pinned into this wall here. I have crazy, crazy feet. I think I'm like a 13.5 wide. My feet are very long and very wide, obviously, so shoes are very, very difficult for me. It's hard for me to find shoes. Very, very difficult. So my shoe size, I'd say it was like a 13 or 13 and a half, definitely wide. What talents do you have? Oh, cool. I am a writer, amateur writer. I do like to write short stories. One of them ended up on the YouTube channel, and I have been published in a couple of literary magazines just locally. I've won some competitions for short stories. I don't consider myself a novelist. I've written one very short novel. It's on almost a novella, is what they would probably call it, called Empty Devils. But other than that, I pretty much identify myself as a short story writer. I am also a musician. I play the guitar fairly decent. I used to be a lot better, but I'm getting my guitar kind of restrung and fixed. But I am a musician. I do know how to play guitar fairly decent. I can find my way around a piano if need be, although I would not say I'm proficient. I couldn't sit down and do like Sunday morning church. I also play drums. I used to be, actually, so a side story. I used to be a phenomenal drummer, like phenomenal, especially for my age. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I played in what you would probably call a hardcore metal band, and I was the drummer. And so, like, shout out to my old buddies if they're, I don't even know, probably not. Channing, James, John, from Flush Hate, the band that started it all when I was a teenager, when I was angry and just wanted to hit cymbals really hard. I broke so many cymbals. I broke so many drumsticks. But the point is that I was actually pretty good. And I know it sounds weird for someone to get up in front of the internet, in front of the camera, in front of the lighting and everything, and actually kind of like ring their bell, you know, like, and talk or toot their horn, I guess is the saying. But I've looked back at some of the footage. I've listened to some of the B-side, kind of like the little recordings we've done. I was quite good. Quite good drummer. Now I can kind of keep, I could probably do a Sunday morning worship service, just like a doom, you know, and keep a beat. But back in the day, I was doing the double pedal, playing fast, playing loud. I was very influenced by Norma Jean, very influenced by Slipknot, a lot of those heavier bands. I also am an amateur yo-yo artist. Not so much anymore. About 10 years ago I was into it. I haven't really been into it since 10 years, but I still remember 3 or 4 or 5 tricks or something like that. And so I can do professional yo-yoing, not just the like down and up and down. But you've seen maybe on YouTube, you should YouTube some yo-yo. It's crazy the crap that they do. But that's another talent that I have. So that's it. I'm a pretty creative individual. Are you good at any skill? Yeah. I just kind of mentioned my talents and my skills. I'm good at all those to varying degrees. Some degradation with the yo-yoing out because it's been years. I'm pretty decent in the kitchen, especially for a man of my age, a single man of my age. I'm a single man. There are no other men attached to me, so I've always just been a single man. But yeah, I would say my skill is I'm not bad in the kitchen for my age. Dancing, not bad at dancing. Not a professional. Again, not a professional cook either, or a professional yo-yo artist. But I think some of the things that have been lost on American men these days, especially here, all right, get on my soapbox. Let me get my soapbox out. I think a lot of things have been like slowly been fading away with men in modern America or just modern history. And I think being able to cook, like for a guy to be like, you see shows, reality TV shows where a guy's just like a chef and like really good, Gordon Ramsay, male chefs and stuff. I think for guys my age, now those people are professionals. I mean, they went to a culinary school and colleges and they studied. But I'm talking about someone who is not drawn into the culinary arts. They just, most men my age don't really know their way how to cook. They might be able to barbecue, throw some hamburger on a thing or whatever, but they don't really know how to cook. And that was something that was, I think, is kind of a shame. I think more men my age should be able to impress the lady. And since we're living in a closer to an egalitarian society where, like, women are absolutely out there 9 to 5 working, not staying at home, not being like the mom or the nurturer, the little happy homemaker, and that's fine too. It's all about the autonomy, right, of this egalitarian type system that we're trying to strive for. But I think it's cool that if a husband and wife both work jobs, and let's say the husband happens to get home early and he can work himself around the kitchen and work something up, something nice, like, so when his wife gets home, it's like, hey, I've made dinner, I'm serving dinner. I think that's, when I close my eyes and I think about that, that's a really cool society. Unfortunately, guys are making ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when they're like 35 years old. Another one before I move on is, like I said, dancing. Dancing today for men is, I can't really do it. I'm seated. It's basically you just move your hips. Guys don't necessarily know how to dance for the most part. Dance. Not just like I stand here with a drink in my hand and kind of like just move my body, mostly like my hips. And then the female or the female gender is all supposed to be, they're the ones that's supposed to have all the crazy moves and be rubbing their bum up on whatever they want to rub it up on. And it's just, to me, I'm just like, there should be more dancing. I mean dancing. Like my generation before me dancing, not like whatever Gen Y dancing and stuff. That's just bumping and grinding. Yeah, that's what they call it, I think. I don't know. I'm out of touch, but I think that's something that's been lost. Another thing that's been lost on guys in their 30s or around my age is that they should be able to cook. They should be able to dance somewhat eloquently. You're not saying you have to be a professional cook or professional dancer, but at least maybe take a class. I've never taken a dancing class, really. I've always just kind of had, maybe it's the fact that I was a drummer. I've always had just some good rhythm, and so that if someone can show me something, I can usually copy the footwork as long as it's not too complicated. What's your favorite animal? I don't know what they mean by animal. I'm a cat person over a dog person. I do love all animals. Don't comment on my YouTube channel. Please don't comment. I love dogs. I've lived in a apartment setting, as I've already mentioned, the people living below me, for a long time. And so I have not had a dog. I had one growing up. I loved that dog. Oh, turn the laptop back on. I loved that dog. We had a couple of family dogs growing up. So I do love dogs. I kind of consider myself a cat person because I've had cats for so long. And cats are easy in an apartment situation. Cats are pretty easy to take care of, which is why a lot of people have them. So I just mess with my hair while I'm doing my Q&A. Just another day, another dollar. Sometimes it's a literal dollar. But favorite animal? Yeah, I don't know. Outside of that, like domestic animals, an ocelot. What's the furthest you've ever been from home? I have been to Canada. I have been to Mexico. Again, if you missed out at the beginning, I do live in the States. I live in the what they would call the lower 48 in the upper Midwest. So I live in the States, so I have been to Canada. I have been to Mexico. I've been to Europe. I've been to London, well, England. I've been to France, Germany, and Italy. So whichever one of those is the furthest away. See, France, we were in Germany, we were in Stuttgart. So I don't know, Europe, probably the farthest I've been from home. Next question. What is your favorite holiday? Hands down, no question about it, would be Halloween. And I'll tell you why. I was raised in a very right-wing, conservative Christian family, which I'm not knocking. I'm just using that to contextualize the story. I love my family. I love my upbringing. I was raised as to the best that I've seen as anyone else has been raised. We weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween. And so, as an adult, when I grew up and kind of, you start to form yourself, you make yourself once you get out of the, underneath the umbrella of your parents, I started getting into like horror movies a lot. I started getting into Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, like Friday the 13th. I don't want to use the word repressed. Sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this. Because that's got repression has like a really negative connotation to it. But what I was kind of repressed on some things, and I basically, those things blew up when I became an adult. So Halloween is my answer. I was never really allowed to celebrate Halloween. We didn't dress up. We didn't go trick-or-treating. We did celebrate and get candy. And of course, we were church affiliated, so there was something that we could do at the church and get together for games and hanging out and things like that. But I never celebrated like what a traditional American Halloween would be. Never have. Not until an adult. Where would your dream holiday be? I assume they mean vacation, because I'm an American, so I don't say holiday. Sorry everyone out there, I'm just being cheeky. My favorite holiday vacation would probably be Scotland. My family's from Scotland, and so I think it would be just a real great place to visit. Just go back to the Scottish place with the Scottish people in Scotland and be able to play a round of golf and whatever. I'd probably say somewhere in Scotland. What food do you love the most? Pizza. Not saying it's the best, but I've gone through the whole, like, if you were on a desert island and you could only eat one thing, pizza. Because you can do a lot with pizza. I've heard the answer tacos too, like, because you can just put whatever in a taco and it's called a taco. Yeah, fair enough. I'm sticking with my answer, pizza. You want vegetables, put it on a pizza. You want like pineapple, which is fruit, put it on a pizza. You want some meats, put it on a pizza. You just want bread and cheese, you can put it on a pizza. My favorite food is pizza. What sport do you like the most? I like lots of sports. I follow football, American football, with my dad quite closely, and Shanine, who is another contributor here at As Per My Ability. We are big into football, but I guess if I were to say my favorite would be baseball. I never really played. I didn't play any sports growing up. I was a band geek. I'd say baseball. Baseball, I really enjoy. I think it's just the American pastime. Something about being like watching it on TV's okay, especially if it's a big game that you're rooting for your team and you need your team to win. But I think a good Sunday afternoon with the sun on your face and like the wind at your back and like a hot dog at the ballpark, that just spells American to me. I'm sorry. But that's just like the American dream. A day at the baseball field, the ballpark, eating food with your dad or like maybe a girlfriend or somebody, whatever. So baseball. Favorite pizza topping? Pepperoni. I don't know. I like everything. So I'm just gonna say that just so that we can move on. What song do you love the most? Oh boy, this is no way to answer this. So I'm basically just gonna say I've been listening to a few different albums by a band called Blindside at the time of recording this. Blindside is from Stockholm, Sweden. I was able to see them in a venue, if you want to call it that. It was more like a broom closet, way back in 1997, 98, somewhere around that time. When their first debut album came out, nobody knew who they were. They were actually opening for a much bigger band called POD. If anyone heard of POD, but they were the headliner and Blindside played. So I've been listening to The Great Depression and Silence, which are two albums by Blindside at the time of recording this. But seriously, like, put yourself out there in internet land. Like, music just, it comes and goes. It's based on however you're feeling. So yeah, what film do you love the most? Holy Moses. So I'm a self-ascribed cinephile, and that basically is just a fancy word for, like, I love movies. And I don't mean like I watch movies. Everyone watches movies. Well, most people do. I watch movies for the message. I watch for the acting. I watch for the cathartic experience. I watch for the narrative experience. I want to talk about the movies afterwards. I want to get in a discussion about them. I am a cinephile. I love movies. So to say, what is your favorite movie? I enjoy Fight Club a lot. I enjoyed Donnie Darko a lot when I was growing up. Obviously, all the classics. I love On the Waterfront is amazing. Jaws is amazing. The Godfather is, all those classic ones. If I have to say, let's say Fight Club, my favorite movie. Favorite, all these favorite things. Favorite alcoholic drink. I don't drink vodka, I would say, but I don't really drink. So when I do enjoy beverages of the adult nature, it would be vodka, something with vodka in it. Favorite non-alcoholic drink, well, it's going to be an interesting answer, because it's actually, at the time of recording this, it's actually root beer, which sounds like alcoholic, even though I was just like, I don't really drink. I really enjoy like imported homemade root beer. The stuff that you buy like in bottles that's imported, that's like not handmade, hand brewed. I like trying those. I like trying very select drafts. 1919 is one that I kind of enjoy if you want a lot of sugar and a lot of vanilla flavoring. Henry Weinhardt's is my favorite because it's got just enough kind of sugary taste to it, but it's not like 1919. My favorite beverage at the time is root beer. My favorite band, I guess at the time, let's just go with Blindside at the time of recording this. If we wanted to talk about my favorite bands, we'd be here till next Tuesday. So, do you want children? Do I want children? I honestly don't know. I currently do not have any children, but I am currently a professional individual. I am a teacher. I am in grad school. I've mentioned this in other videos, so that's fine. So that stuff keeps me very, very busy, and I don't think I'm at that big career hump. I'm still living in an apartment. I still drive a car that's about 10 years old. And so when it comes to like having kids, it's like I want to make sure that my life is where it's at, that I got my education where I am and my job and salary, and maybe I'm not driving a car that's from last decade. And so yeah, in the future, down the line, if very, very specific planets align, I would say I would have some kids. I would definitely want to foster. That is absolutely for sure something I'm going to do. Adopt, probably, but definitely fostering. And so I think I definitely will be a foster parent, whether if I get married or not, whatever, I'll definitely be doing that. Are you extroverted or introverted? Oh, this is really difficult. Can I say both? I'm very extroverted because I'm a board gamer. And I don't really play games solo. I play games solo every once in a blue moon. But gaming for me is a very good way to fill up my cup. And what I mean by that is my social desire, like my cup, you know? But I'm also very introverted because I'm always like self-reflecting and always kind of like, if I'm to myself, by myself, not in front of a camera, not speaking to the internet, just kind of chilling. My thoughts usually turn towards kind of like philosophical questions of myself, and so I can be very introverted as well. A deep thinker, I guess. Are you good at any sport? No, not really. Are you religious? I am religious. Like I said, grew up with a right-wing conservative family. Not that that has anything to do with religion. You can be left or right, center, whatever. But I was raised religious, and I do consider myself religious. You know, I still believe in the Bible. I believe in God and heaven and hell and stuff like that. But I have kind of a different way of thinking about things when it comes to religion and religious ideas, which I'm not going to get into because, again, we'd be here till next Tuesday. What's your best achievement? My best achievement is probably getting this YouTube started. Yeah, why not? I mean, I won a game of Terraforming Mars once. That was pretty fun. But no, I wanted to do something gaming related for, God knows, 2 years, if not more. It's like that friend that you have. Do you ever have a friend that's just like always talking about how fat he or she is, and like, oh, I need to get to the gym, and I'm so fat, or whatever, but they don't do anything about it? That was me. For at least 2 years, if not more. Not the fat thing. Well, maybe the fat thing, but the YouTube thing of like, oh, I want to do board games, or I want to start a podcast, or I want to, for years, oh, I should do this or that. I wrote for some of my college papers when I had the autonomy to do so about like narrative structures. I looked at narrative like board games, and for one of my collaborative writing courses, I wrote about time stories. I wrote a lot about a game called Time Stories and the narrative in there. And so I was doing some writing involving games and things like that, but I think my biggest achievement was actually pulling the trigger and saying hello and putting my face out there, however it may look, broken out or not broken out or irritated or whatever. I think that was a big step for me. So that's my best achievement, is actually getting a YouTube started. What do you declare yourself? Homo, bi, or heterosexual? It actually says that. Homo, bi, or heterosexual. Okay. I'm a heterosexual male. I'm biologically a male. I identify as a male, and I identify as heterosexual male. Done. Can you curl your tongue? Like that? I mean, like this? Yeah. If that's what they mean, then yeah, I can do that. Do you hope to get famous one day? Now, this is an interesting question, because the answer is no. But it's yes. So, I don't have any aspirations to be famous, like a celebrity, but I do have some sort of intrinsic drive to be, I don't know what word I want to use, just kind of recognized. If you live in a smaller community, and I'm not saying like a community of like 3 people, but I mean a smaller community, there's usually people that are kind of well known. Like, for example, there's a history teacher who teaches at the college here in town, who he retired a few years ago, and he's always out and about in the community. He's got big, just like totally jet white hair, and is a pretty decent dude. But people know him. They know him. He's involved in a lot of things. He's on a board member of this. He's involved in the cinema society I was talking about. And so, yes, I do have aspirations to be noticeable, to be like, oh, I know him. He's a pillar of the community, if you will. But I don't have any aspirations to be famous and be like a YouTube celebrity or anything like that. I wouldn't want that at all. Are you used to speaking to a camera? By now I am, I think. But no, I guess I would say no. Stumbling over my words as I'm answering a question about speaking to a camera. I took public speaking in college way back when, but that's about it. What are the main fears of starting this channel? The main fears, there's some that I want to talk about, and there's some that I'm just not going to talk about because they're more for discussions off camera for myself, for people like myself, and for people that I work with, like Shanine and Kevin. But the fears base of starting this channel is basically just failure. Just not putting out content, getting bored with it, getting kind of sick, or you know, because content is king, as they say, you know, in the YouTube world. The grind, you know, making videos. Hence why I set this camera up and why I'm doing this right now. So, yeah. Why should people follow your channel? Well, people should follow my channel, subscribe to my channel because, A, if they live in my area, if you know where I am, if you're in the upper Midwest, it would be awesome to help out a local boy, local guy doing this thing. If you like board games, you don't even have to have like 400 board games. You don't even have to have a wall of board games behind you. But if you have a set of games, if you enjoy gaming, if you like games, subscribe. That's why people should help out. Subscribe to the channel. If you like games, I mean, I don't expect people to watch every single one of my videos. I don't expect people to have interest in every single one of my videos. I don't expect people to even be listening to me right now as this rolls on to almost an hour of footage. But why? Why should they subscribe? Because it's just me. Because I'm a guy who sat around for 2.5 years wanting to start a channel, and I finally did. And so that's commendable. I think that's it. I'm going to move to one other section I saw that I could maybe pop a couple of questions in. Oh, general questions. Have you ever met someone famous? I have. I've met a few people, famous people. Well, depends on what you mean, like met someone. Okay, so I met Stephen King very briefly. It was just one of those like walkthrough sign, like type thing. So does that count? Whatever. I met and I shook hands with Adam West, who was like the original Batman. Who did I see? Oh, Conan O'Brien I saw at an airport from a distance. I guess that doesn't count. Never actually like met him, but I like kind of saw him and he was like, like doing his hair thing for the fans, for the crowd that noticed him. And most importantly, the one that nobody believes me is that I have made out with Spider-Man's girlfriend. So Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire, his girlfriend was played by an actress named Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten was in my neck of the woods in 2007, filming a documentary about the upcoming election with Barack Obama and having like a black man run as president. I honestly don't know what the documentary was about. It was like trying to get college kids. Well, I happened to be on campus that day, and so I met Kirsten Dunst, and I joke when I say like I made out with her, but there was an entire day that myself and another instructor hung out with Kirsten when they were done shooting. We went to a local kind of brewery, pub in town and hung out for quite a few hours, and at the end there was kind of the like peck on the sort of cheek area here, whatever. So I got to hug and kiss Kirsten Dunst. That's it for famous people, I believe. And some of them don't even count, like Conan O'Brien. I saw. Who else did I see like from a distance? Oh, I saw Torrey Hunter from a distance. He's a baseball player. I saw Billy Beane, who's the owner of the Oakland Athletics, from a distance. If you could change one thing that happened, what would it be? I think that's going to get beyond the realm of this video. I think I want to keep this video just kind of me bebopping my head, and let's not get into trauma. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? Oh, maybe back to Scotland. Yeah, Scotland, you know, where the weather's just pure triste out today. I don't know. See, I want to say Scotland because I mentioned that earlier, and I do want to visit, but that's because I want to visit there. Like, I don't know if I would want, where would I want to live? Canada? Maybe Canada, because Canada's pretty close to America, and the way that America's going right now, without getting into any type of political discussion, because I'm not, I just think getting to Canada would be great. But I hear Canada's pretty messed up too in regards to governmental things and just what's happening. But I'd say Canada. Who would be your ideal partner? Oh, I know this one. I have an answer for this one. And it's I have to be very specific. Very specific. Maybe I'll post a picture if I go back. I know I said I wouldn't do any editing, but maybe I might. I'll put in a picture. My ideal partner is the character that Zooey Deschanel plays in New Girl. So there's a television show, I don't know, I think it's on NBC, called New Girl. And there's a character named Jess in the show, played by Zooey Deschanel. Now, I am not attracted to Zooey Deschanel, the person, the actress, but the character of Jess that she plays, so, you know, the way that she's written and that she acts, and that character, that's my ideal partner. Cheers. So just to be clear, I don't have a thing for Zooey Deschanel, but I have a thing for like seeing her on screen playing Jess, and the way that they write her as kind of like one of the guys, but she's also hilarious sometimes, and you just have to watch New Girl. Watch New Girl to kind of figure out what I mean. But the character of Jess would be my answer. Yeah. Favorite holiday: beach, mountain, or city? Mountain? Wow. City? I don't know. Probably beach. Even though I'd be like a big old whale, beached whale, but I don't know. Beach makes me just think of like sand and sun, and that seems okay. Mountains make me think of like the characters from Lord of the Rings trying to like climb that one mountain when the snow attacks them. And then city makes me think of just like bustling downtown city, like downtown New York or something. Just too much. You're probably gonna get robbed, raped, killed, or all three. Do you like scary movies? I do. I am a horror buff. As I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, there's just nothing for scary movies, really, lately. There's oversaturation of horror movies. There's probably like 18 billion horror movies that come out a year, and then like maybe 1,000 just dramas. And out of those millions and millions of horror movies, like none of them are good. Or maybe one out of a million is like, oh, that one was okay. And that's it. That's even just okay. It was just okay. But I haven't been to a good horror movie. I haven't seen like a good horror movie in a while. I'll throw some out there while I'm at it. It Follows is a pretty good horror movie. It's got an independent feel to it, so don't expect a lot of crazy monsters or car chases. It Follows. The Cabin in the Woods is probably my favorite horror movie of all time, at least of more modern movies. What's some other? The Others was kind of an interesting take. These are all kind of older, like nothing. God, I haven't seen anything new. I do like Stephen King, so like the remakes of like It and Pet Sematary were all pretty good, especially Pet Sematary. I really enjoyed Pet Sematary. Slender Man was just crap, so I don't know. But yes, to answer the question, I do like horror movies. Have you ever fired a real gun? A real gun? Not a real gun. Like a 22, a BB gun. I don't think that's what they mean by like real guns. So no, I've never fired a real gun. In fact, I'm actually kind of anti-gun. I don't think I'll ever own a gun. I don't need to own a gun. I don't want to invest money into owning a gun. I don't want to go to the range and shoot. It's just nothing against anyone else out there. I'm not one of those people that's like, I want to take your guns away. It's just personally not for me. 3 more and then we'll be out of here. Last film you watched. The last film that I watched, I've been watching, or I should say, I've been rewatching the Game of Thrones series. I watched it when it came out, so I already know what happens. I'm just kind of rewatching it to kind of, it's been a while, just put together some of the things that you may have forgot, and it's excellent. It's better the second time around than it was the first time, because you can binge it this time. Whereas the first time you couldn't, you had to wait a whole week to see what happens. But the last movie that I saw, what did we put in for a movie? I think it was Game Night. I think I watched Game Night just on a streaming service. I think that was the last movie I watched. Do you like roller coasters? Not really, but if I'm with the right people and I'm in the right mood, I have been coerced into getting into a roller coaster, so I have been on some roller coasters, but I'm usually like that most of the time, or my mouth is open, like trying to scream, but like nothing comes out. Nothing comes out. I don't really enjoy them. I don't like heights, and so obviously it takes you like super high and then just drops you, and then and this and that, and like it's pretty intense. I have been on roller coasters, but I don't necessarily go like that's a selling point for me. Like that roller coaster is pretty badass. Have you ever cried at a film? I think the question is like, is there any film you haven't cried at? I do get into stories. I'm someone that's quite weird. People watch movies and they're very passive. Shout out to my dad. I love you, Dad. But my father is someone who's like can watch the most emotional movie and not cry. That doesn't mean that he didn't like it or that he didn't like feel anything. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I really connect. I'm like always putting myself in their position, or I'm thinking something that the characters are going through. Maybe I've gone through something that's not even really that similar, but maybe it is in some weird way. Maybe I can connect like 3 different dots and go, I've had something happen that would provoke a similar emotional feeling. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of a bummer to go out on for a question, but yes, I have cried. There are lots of movies and TV shows that I've cried at. Some notable ones, since I know you really want to know, one that comes to mind is Warhorse. Man, not a dry eye in the house. When it comes to animals, it's always tough. Yeah, it's always tough when there's animals involved and violence, and yeah. So Warhorse was one I remember. My shirt, like the front of my shirt, was just like totally stained. Not stained, but like just completely wet. Just I don't know. Another one, not so much anymore because I've seen it enough to where I'm kind of desensitized. But Vanilla Sky was one that I watched post breakup, and it was kind of like the only thing I would watch over and over and over again and just cry at the end. Mostly because of the Sigur Rós soundtrack. Speaking of, We Bought a Zoo, which is also by Sigur Rós, the soundtrack. We Bought a Zoo teared me up because of the music and like the emotional characters. Cameron Crowe, I tend to like his movies for the most part. I'm going to sign off and put this on up. Maybe I'll come through and do some editing, but leave a comment below, answer some of the questions yourself, or comment on some of my comments on the questions, or maybe just ask me a question in the comment or whatever. Let's interact. Let's do something together. Say hi, drop a comment, hit subscribe, whatever. Help out a person that's just a DIY YouTube channel. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys whenever I see you, if I do see you, if you are in my area, if you are in my life. I'm looking forward to the next time that I see you. For those of you that aren't around, leave a message. I'm looking forward to seeing your messages and responding and maybe getting a chance to know you a little better as well. So, having said all of that, my name is Andrew Davidson. You've been watching As Per My Ability video, and I will see you at the next video. Thanks for hanging with me for this long with this As Per My Ability Q&A. Nectar of the gods. And coffee and energy. You kidding me? Yes, please.